What is going on, guys? Today I'm going to be bringing a video ranking every single NFL quarterback on a tier list. The best tier is going to be elite, the second best, very good, the third best, above average, then we have decent with lots of potential. Next we have a bridge quarterback, and then worst tier, a full-time backup. I have every single NFL quarterback in here. With that, let's get started. With CJ Stroud, I'm going to move him to very good. He's shown so much potential that he is the face of the franchise for the Houston Texans right now. And if you're a Houston fan, you have to be pretty happy about having him. Next up, we have Sam Howell. I want to put him here, but I'm a big Sam Howell fan, and I think he has lots of potential to go far. And really, I don't like his criticism about his interceptions, and I don't think he should have got benched. I think he should be a full-time starter because he shows that he cares about his team with his running style. Next up, Geno Smith. I'm going to put him in above average. Now, I'm not a Geno Smith fan, really, to say, because he's not my favorite quarterback. I mean, if you look at the stats, he really isn't the best. I know he's had time off, but he's 16th in passing. I know he does have that running threat, but you really don't have the greatest player in Geno Smith that I feel like people are making him out to be just because he won Comeback Player of the Year last year. Next up, we have Kyler Murray. Might get a bit of hate for this, but I think he's a bridge quarterback. I think the Cardinals are going to try and move on to a better quarterback in the draft class, like Caleb Williams or Drake May, where it really just makes more sense. I mean, he had one good year, but without that, we've seen his scrambling ability, but we've never seen his full package throughout the entire year. Next up, Bryce Young. Decent with lots of potential. Now, this is one of the reasons I made this tier is for Bryce Young, because he is playing terrible this year. But do I think this will continue? No, not at all. This will not continue. But he's in a bad situation with the Carolina Panthers right now, where his top receiver is Adam Thielen. So it's very hard for him to do stuff. And I don't think he deserves all this criticism that he's getting. Tommy DeVito, I really like him. I'm tempted to put him here, but I think I'm going to put him in a bridge quarterback. I can't put him above Kyler Murray. Good knowing that. But he's been playing good. He's been doing what the Giants need him to do. He isn't playing amazing football where I could put him in decent with lots of potential. Where I will end up putting Justin Fields in decent with lots of potential because he shows that he has these flashes. He has amazing flashes, and then he has plays where everything crashes down on him, where we wonder if he could put all this together, where would he be? Next up, we have Mahomes. I think this is a pretty obvious one. Did not mean to put him in above average there. He's elite. Okay. I don't like him, but I will respect him. He's a good quarterback. He is a good quarterback. Great quarterback. He's elite. He doesn't have good wide receivers this year. Okay. He still has a positive record. He's a good quarterback. Russell Wilson, I'm going to put him in above average. Now, this guy, I feel like, takes too much criticism that he does not deserve. Last year was terrible. Everyone knows that. But now, he comes in, new coach, new Broncos team, basically. Sean Payton goes in there and says, turn this team around. And it starts with Russell Wilson, where he might not be having the best statistical season, being 18th in passing yards. but he is playing what the Broncos need him to do. Sure, he has bad games. Every quarterback has bad games. But this is really, I'm impressed about this turnaround that Russell Wilson has had. Taylor Heinicke, bridge quarterback. I did not know who to put in here. Taylor Heinicke or Desmond Ridder. I think Taylor Heinicke is the better player. I would have put Desmond Ridder in full-time backup. That's my truth and that's my opinion. You can have a different opinion. He's not going to go out there and win you an MVP. He's not going to take you to the Super Bowl. But he'll just give you some hope in a season, like he did with the Commanders last year. Next up, Lamar Jackson, elite. He's going for his second MVP. He's been playing lights out football with his rushing ability and passing ability. I mean, right now I think he's one of the best quarterbacks in the National Football League. Will Levis, decent with tons of potential. That first game we saw from him, I thought this guy was one of the best quarterbacks. Then he goes on a little bit of, doesn't do too good. Then he goes out and beats the Dolphins. He is showing so much potential in what he does. But if he could just piece all of his potential together, this Titans team could make a real push next year for the AFC South. Kenny Pickett, bridge quarterback. I mean, I don't really see anything in him that gives him too much potential. I mean, he has his running ability, but Kyler Murray does too. So he isn't really anything I've really seen out of him that makes me say decent with lots of potential. So I don't really know where to put him. Tua, very good. I'm going to get some hate not putting him in elite. He has some of the best offensive setup in the league and one of the best with Mike McDaniels, one of the best offensive coordinators in the league. I'm going to get hate for it. Tua is a very good quarterback when he can stay healthy, which he needs to prove more of. And I really do think that he could be elite, but he needs to prove that he can go out and win a game against a good team without Tyreek Hill, which I feel like, I'm not saying Tyreek Hill made him, but I'm saying he definitely helped. Bailey Zappi, full-time backup. I think he's better than Mac Jones. I think Mac Jones is a full-time backup. We're going to try and move on quickly because we have a couple more quarterbacks to get through. Justin Herbert, very good. I mean, 6'6", huge arm. What you want in a quarterback, really. So he just needs to piece everything together, and I think with having a new coach next year, I think will be a lot better not having Brandon Staley. Derek Carr, above average. You know, he's decent, but I can't put him in lots of potential because he is over 30 years old. So he hasn't been playing great football, but he hasn't been playing terrible football. He's doing enough to make the Saints contend for the NFC South. Jalen Hurts, I think this is an obvious one. Elite. I mean, he's had that bad stretch this year, but I don't really think that's anything too bad. Next up, Dak Prescott, elite. He was getting lots of criticism this year for really nothing. I mean, they beat the Eagles. Only good team they really beat this year. Nick Mullins, full-time backup. There's not that much more to say. Zach Wilson, full-time backup. I think he could maybe be like a Mike White kind of guy where he goes in and has his good stretches, but he has lots of potential. We see those flashes, but you just can't put it all together. Baker Mayfield, above average. This guy does not get talked about enough for his level of play that he's been having for this Buccaneers team, and I think they will win the NFC South with him. Gardner Minshew, bridge quarterback. We see it with the Indianapolis Colts this year. A bridge quarterback that will give you hope, but it will not give you a Super Bowl. Caden O'Connell. I'm tempted what to do, but I think I'm just going to put him in a bridge quarterback. But on the best bridge quarterback, because I think he does have lots of potential. He has the right mindset going into it. Just beat Kansas City yesterday. Next up, Joe Flacco. Whoa, what do I do here? He's playing very good football, but I'm not going to put him in very good. I'm going to put him in above average. Now, he's just through a 300-plus yard game, maybe 400-plus. Amari Cooper went off that game for like 260 yards and 3 touchdowns. It was amazing. Bridge quarterback, Jake Browning. I think he's decent, but I don't think he's definitely not going to take over the Joe Burrow role. We got Trevor Lawrence. I'm going to put him in very good. He's a very talented quarterback, but he does not always be consistent with his play. Brock Purdy. This is coming after his Monday night loss. I'm going to put him in very good. I don't think a lot of those interceptions were not his fault. They were tip balls that ended up just bouncing off the receiver's hands there. So I don't think it's really his fault there. I'm going to save Josh Allen for last. Jared Goff, very good. He's had a couple of bad games, but when he is on, he goes for 400, 300 yards and 5 touchdowns, and believe me, he is my fantasy quarterback. He is amazing. Jordan Love, above average. I wanted to put him in decent with lots of potential, but he has been playing amazing football towards this end of the football season, and maybe going for the playoffs. Matthew Stafford, above average. I think his career maybe has 2 more years in him than maybe just a backup. But he's been playing good football this year. He's been doing what he needs to do. And nothing really more and nothing less. Josh Allen. Where do I go here? Maybe elite. You can say how many turnovers he has. He also leads the league in touchdowns. He's also trying to take this, and he is also putting this Bills team in a good situation to make the playoffs with all of their injuries. He is also a leader on this Bills team. So, what do you agree with? What don't you agree with? Comment down below what you think of all of this. And I'll see you in the next video. Make sure to like and subscribe.